Join us for the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast, where we discuss matters close to the heart. This and every Saturday at 8 a.m. until 9:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on HGG Radio. I am your host, Dr. Lincoln Bryan, alongside your co-host, Pastor Clive Atkinson, Bishop Hopeton Morris, and Elder Edmund Muir. The Iron Man Empowerment Podcast. We're not just talk, we're informative. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. And welcome to the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast right here inside the studios of HGG Radio. Of course, I'm your host, Dr. Lincoln Bryan, along with our co-host, Pastor Clive Atkinson, Bishop Hopeton Morris, and Elder Edmund Muir. Of course, we want to thank you for joining us this morning. We are absolutely delighted, Bryan, that you are here with us on this morning. Thank you for being here, for waking up with us another morning. And let me say this at the top of the show, that we also just want to send our deepest love to those that have been affected in Jamaica in particular, and the rest of the Caribbean, who have been affected by the Hurricane Beryl. And I know that there are persons in parts of Jamaica, for example, those in St. Elizabeth and Manchester, so let's say Middlesex, Jamaica, who are still struggling. Some are still without electricity. And so we want to send our deepest love to those who have been affected down there in Jamaica. So, of course, it's the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast, where we discuss matters that are close to the heart. And I'm your host, Dr. Lincoln Bryan. Our co-hosts are here. And we want to thank Pastor Clive Atkinson, Bishop Hopeton Morris, and Elder Edmund Muir for, of course, being here with us yet another morning. Yeah, today we are tackling a topic that is often hard to discuss, but incredibly liberating: the good in saying goodbye. Whether it's the end of a relationship, or you've come to the end of a career, it's a career change maybe, or a new chapter in life. Goodbyes can be a catalyst for growth, renewal, and transformation. Join us as we explore the power of letting go and discovering how embracing the good in goodbye can set you free to become the liberated person that you were meant to be. Good morning to our esteemed co-hosts. I'll have them come in. Good morning, gentlemen. Come on in and greet us.
Morning. God bless you, sir. How are you? How's your week?
So far, so good. I have a wonderful week. Very busy, tiring, but God is good. Balancing a lot of things. But it's good. So far, so good. We had a wonderful Ella Muir. We're having a little feedback there. Very busy, tiring, but yeah, Bishop, come in. We're getting a little feedback, I think, from Ella Muir's side of things. Bishop Morris, come on in and greet the masses, so we can dive into the discussion.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good to hear that you have a good week, sir. My week also was good. Morning, Elder Clive.
Bless you,
Bishop. God bless you. And let me want to be the first to wish you a happy 50th birthday tomorrow, sir. Only a few hours from now.
Look at that. That is
all week, Bishop.
Yes, I was there to celebrate with you tomorrow, sir. Only a few hours from now.
Yeah, man. I've been celebrating all week. My wife knows it goes already. I don't do a big old splash, but I celebrate. I'm celebrating. Thank you.
All week long, eh?
And since we are on birthday, to everyone who have a birthday last week, to everyone who having a birthday week to come, happy birthday to you.
The best month of the year, man.
That's wonderful. Happy birthday, let's say, to the HGG Radio's boss, Pastor Clive Atkinson. Happy birthday on tomorrow. As Bishop as mentioned, we echo those sentiments, and we wish you God's richest blessing, long life, and prosperity. And we pray the blessing of the Lord on you in this vision that He has placed in you to carry out this radio station and the church at large. And so we really thank God for you, and we are celebrating with you, sir, on the big number on tomorrow. We'll give Elder Muir. We're just having some technical challenges on his side, but we'll allow Elder Muir to come on in as well and chime in here. Elder Muir
Thank
on
you so
the big
much, man.
number. Right, we're still getting that feedback. Give it a second. Come on in as well and right, we're still getting that feedback. All right, Elamir, we're having some challenges. We'll touch base with our technical team there. We're having quite a bit of feedback coming in. So let me also say good morning to all right, Elamir, we have let me say good morning to um, all our listeners that are joining us. Sonia Bowen, good morning to you there. Good morning over there in Florida. Good morning to my dear Aunt Mahela Hemmings. She said, good morning. This show has taken away my Saturday morning sleep, but it's worth it. Thank you so much for waking up with us and giving us that sleep. You hear that, Bishop? Said she, it's taking away her Saturday sleep. Blessings to Ray McHugh and the McHugh family over there in Rochester, New York, to Praise Sanctuary International Apostolic Ministry and the brethren. We thank you so much for joining. Nika Whittingham, good morning. She said, good morning, Saints. Another powerful topic. Thank you all. So they are also sending birthday greetings to Pastor Clive. Good morning, Sandra Mitchell. Good morning to you. And we're seeing the happy birthdays coming in. So if you're just joining us, Pastor Clive Atkinson is celebrating his birthday on tomorrow. So we want to show him some love as well in this segment. Yeah. So Anika said, enjoy, Pastor Clive. Pray the Lord, good Lord, enlarge your borders and territory. Continue to stay in the will of God. So if you're just joining us, chime in and show Pastor Clive Atkinson some love. Let me also say belated birthday greetings to Evangelist Laverne Rose, who celebrated her birthday on yesterday. So we want to send you some love. I know she is an ardent listener on this program. So we want to say happy birthday to you, Evangelist Rose, on your birthday. Also, to a lady I call a second mom to me, Barbara Brown, and to Pops Brown down there in Jamaica, who also listen to the program, who celebrated 45 years of marriage on yesterday. So we say happy wedding anniversary to you. Continue to keep on keeping on and keep Christ in the center of it all. Bishop will jump in. Let me see if Ella Muir is back with us. Happy wedding anniversary to you. All right, we're still getting those feedback from his side. But Pastor Clive, the masses are sending you love
Thank you so
going
much.
on there.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you
Yes,
so
the
much.
massive are sending their love. And we say good morning to all our friends near and far from England, from the US, from the Caribbean, Antigua, St. Martin, Grand Cayman,
Thank
Canada,
you.
Jamaica,
Thank you so
where you're
much.
joining us from. So we said to you, good morning to you, if you're from wherever you are joining us. All right, so we're going to jump right into into this program, because believe me, it's a thought-provoking one that I think a discussion we really need to have, that oftentimes persons shy away from the good in saying goodbye, because there's a good, there is a good in saying goodbye, and oftentimes we are afraid to use that good, and it's necessary. There are times when it's really necessary that we just have to say goodbye to folks, goodbye, farewell, and I'll see you next time. And so it's necessary to say that goodbye. So here.
I think you're muted, sir. We're not hearing you.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Yeah, go
Yes.
ahead.
Yes.
Yes, we're just having, I was just having a little glitch there. So we're talking about the necessity and the reason, the blessing in saying goodbye. We're just having, I was just having a little glitch there. So we're still getting that feedback from Elamur's side. Elamur, let me pause for a minute and then see if you're able to come in and greet us without feedback. So we're still getting feedback from Elamur's side. Elamur, let me pause for a minute and then see if you're able to come in and greet us without feedback. So we're still feedback from Elder Muir's side. Elder Muir, can you
Good
pause
morning,
for a
good
minute and then
morning.
see if you're able to come in and greet us without
Are you still hearing
feedback?
that
So we're
feedback
still
now?
feedback from Elder Muir's side. Elder Muir, can you
Good
pause
morning,
for a
good
minute and then
morning.
see if you're able to come in and greet us without
Are you still hearing
feedback? So
that
we're
feedback
still,
now?
yes, we're still having those feedback, Elder Muir. It's just pretty much repeating. So I'm not sure if you're hearing it, Bishop, or it's just on my side.
Yeah, I'm hearing it, but I'm hearing you not a
Right,
feedback, but
repeating.
hearing you
Right,
repeating yourself, yeah.
repeating. Right. So whenever Elder Mike mute mics is on mute, that's where we're having that challenge. But
Or maybe you have
we're going to
two things on at the same time.
yes at the same time. Do you want to
Or-
check or that you have only one device? But we'll run on. Um, in the program we want to run on. So let me set it up and then we'll dive into it. Yeah. So let me set it up. While goodbyes can be difficult and emotional, they also hold a profound significance that can positively impact our lives. Goodbye can mark the end of a chapter, making the way for a new one, a new beginning, and allowing us to grow and to end and to evolve. They can also provide an opportunity for closure, giving us the chance to reflect on the experience or relationship that's ending and to learn from it. Moreover, goodbyes can foster gratitude, helping us to appreciate our time with someone or something and the memories we created. By acknowledging the good in goodbye, we can transform an often painful experience into a catalyst for personal growth, new adventure, and a deeper appreciation for the people and the experiences that enrich our lives. So, this morning, Bishop, the question I want to ask, the question we are coming with is how can you differentiate between a good goodbye and a bad one?
Good morning again, everyone. God bless you, and thank you for that question. Um, it depends on the relationship that you have with the person. It was a good relationship, then you definitely know that um, that goodbye is going to be tough because that person have contributed to your life, have helped to build you and so on. And people move on for various reasons, for schooling, for job, different opportunities and stuff like that. So, if the relationship is good, then it's going to be tough. Then if it was not a good relationship, then we were to sing the song "Goodbye, Goodbye, Goodbye" to my what? Be
Farewell to
myself
you, my
here.
friend.
Bye to my troubles. Goodbye. Um, you know, and I tell you, I started off the program. Pastor acting as a pastor. I'm a pastor, and sometimes when people leave, it is tough, very
Oh,
very
yeah.
tough. But when some people leave, and when some people leave, it's like praise the Lord. I've been delivered,
Yeah.
you know, and you bless the Lord for that. So it really depends on the relationship that you have with the person, the contribution that you have with the person, and the way or with the goodbye was handled also. It depends on all of those factors.
Yeah.
Is it necessary at times to say goodbye, though?
Yeah, yeah, it is
Oh, yeah.
necessary. Even the scripture in the book of Acts, it says, "Not separate me, Paul and Barnabas." Why? Right? For the work that I've called them to. Right? And
Mhm.
sometimes your calling is different. Have nothing to do. Sometimes we look at goodbye in a negative way, but sometimes it is for ministry. and
Hmm.
and and, and sometimes God have to literally you're enjoying yourself too much. God have to sometimes literally pull you apart because you enjoy each other so much, you bounce off each other, you appreciate each other, and sometimes God wants you in east and this one stay in the west, and so on. So it doesn't have to be negative, but sometimes it is for the work's sake, right?
Mhm.
The work of the Lord, the calling of the Lord on your life. So it doesn't always have to be a negative thing, and it is necessary sometimes, because sometimes you rely on people so much,
Hmm.
right? You rely on people so much that you feel like you cannot do without them, and sometimes God will move them out of the way to let you know that it's not them you can't do without, it's him you cannot do without,
Without.
right? And sometimes when God moved them, it's to teach you a particular skill, right? And for you to learn some things, and for you to face your fear, right? Because they were taking care of your fear. They were dealing with stuff that you didn't want to deal with or fear to deal with, and now they are gone. You have to deal with it. Let me give you one story. There was this bishop tell us that they have a deacon in his church, and they have a board of deacons, but the other deacons them do nothing at all. This man does everything. He and his family take care of everything basically in the church. Couldn't do without him. And he got an opportunity in another states to go work and so on, so he have to left, and he was fearful. This man is going, and the other deacons them come to him and like, what are we going to do now without him? And he said, it's good that he's gone. Now you guys I've got to I've got to do the work that you
Hmm.
were ordained to do, right? So sometimes God allow them to go so that other people will be able to do what they are supposed to do. I leave
Yes.
it for now.
Yeah, that is so good, Bishop, because sometimes when other persons left, you see the gap and see how that, that you can do better and do better than what you're doing in filling that gap and moving the thing forward. So it's necessary. I often see goodbye to it's good to do, but Pastor Clive, what about our failure to say goodbye in the name of Christendom? Because a lot of time we use Christianity to mask um the even when God is saying it's time to celebrate, to separate. And we have seen where we even talk about Barnabas and Paul. We have also seen it with Abraham and Lot. But there comes a time when the Lord is saying it's time to separate. There are also sometimes we're in toxic relationships, and the Lord is really trying to deliver us from it, and we're holding on to it in the name of in the name of being a good Christian, because we believe, well, I don't want to separate and I don't want it to cause anything. So in the name of being a good Christian, I'll stay in the stuff, I'll stay in the dysfunction for something that no longer serve me. Talk to me about having that will, that power to realize, to recognize when it's not working and when it's time to move on.
I wish above all that you prosper as your soul prosper. Um, for your good not to be evil spoken of, for your um, as a person, oftentimes, we're trying to hold on to things that God is saying it's time to move on. But as a human being, you feel the hurt or feeling the pain. But it's important at times. Jesus said to his disciple, if I go, I'll come again. So it shows you that it's important for people to leave, and you would have raised this story with Lot and Abraham. For peace sake, you go over there, so I stay over here, so then I can see you and we can have a good relationship. It is important for you to be able to can say, you know what, I love you, but and there's no ill will about it. I love you, but because the truth remain is you have some persons that their personality and your personality clash. That doesn't mean that you're a bad person or they're bad people. It's just the person, your personality clash. And when you have a personality clash, or you have persons who they just feel more than less say, you know, it, people are just different. So you have to just know if somebody's gonna come into your space or into your, when I say in your space, in your person, in your life. They may be there for 20 years. They may be there for 50 years. They may be there for 1 year. You have to learn how to be able to can let go and says, you know what, for my own sanity, as Abraham would have said to his And the problem is, Abraham didn't have no problem with Lot. It was his herdsman. It was war among them, among the men, them among themselves, but for peace sake. And you have to learn to let go, and say goodbye, and say, you know what, it's not working out. And you have some people who are toxic. You have some people who are toxic, and you have to learn to say, listen, me, I don't want us to have issue, and you don't want to feel as if person are pulling your strength down. So it's good to just say, you know what, let's path ways. You may feel ways, but life, life is a journey, and when you're on this journey, you have to just learn to say, you know what, next chapter of my life is here. And you will have people that you have to say let go because of, and you would learn lessons from these things and be able to move on. I hope I answered the question.
Yes. Thank you so much, Pastor Clive. And let me say good morning to Lady Jean Wignall over there from New Jersey. Thank you for being here with us. Anika said, hey, Jesus loved me now. She said, what a confirmation. I went through the same situation last week and I said, God is really speaking to me. Yes. And so thank you. She said, oh, Jesus, I continue. Oh Jesus, I pray continue to be obedient to your voice. And so she's saying just last week the Lord is speaking to her, and here it is that we're having this discussion. Elamure, I'm going to bring you back in. Good morning, Elamure. Let me know if you're able to hear us. Okay.
Good morning. I'm hearing you 100% perfect.
Perfect.
I want to say
Perfect.
good
And we're
morning
hearing
to
we're hearing
I,
you
I,
well.
I like your
you.
background, Elder.
It's a lovely background. Thank you, sir. Uh, I want to say good morning to Bishop Morris. Good morning to Pastor Clive and to Dr. Lings and all the wonderful listeners on HGG Radio. Thought-provoking topic indeed. One that I mean, it's something that we face on a daily basis. There are always goodbyes, doors closing, new chapters, new everything. And so it is actually how we approach these goodbyes and how we deal with them that really matters. Goodbye in church, for example, it's so very important. Growing up in the apostolic faith, I have learned over the time that when you're leaving, leave good.
Mm-hmm.
So there must be a goodbye which has a mutual understanding when you are leaving anywhere. And I believe that speaks to the bonds. You don't want to destroy persons or destroy bonds when you're saying goodbye, whether good or bad experiences. It's always good to leave in a nice way, and even thinking about Paul and Barnabas, as was said, thinking about even Abraham and Lot again. There's something, Lot was never supposed to be there with Abraham through that
To
period
begin
of
with.
time.
Yes.
To
Yes.
begin with, he was
Yeah.
never supposed to, because the Lord told him to leave thy kindred,
Mm-hmm.
leave thy father's house. So, there are times when we have to understand when the time is up,
That's right.
because as
Mhm.
persons enter our lives, we realize that they're there for a purpose. And when that purpose is fulfilled, God would have them
Season
to
2.
go. Yeah,
Mhm.
sorry, I heard something just.
Keep going.
Okay, God would have them to go. And even from the scriptures, we recognize something. Uh, God would allow some things to happen for us to gain knowledge to a particular situation or insight on the time schedule of persons in our lives or around us or in our circles. And so we must not miss what God is saying in the seasons that we are in.
So
And
Elamio,
I yes, go ahead.
yeah, I want to ask you before you wrap this, and I want you to stay right here with us. How can we then reframe our thinking to see goodbye as an opportunity for transformation?
Well, it can be complicated for some, but for the better part, you mentioned the mind. The mind is very powerful. And if it is then that we're having challenges, I believe forums like these is one example where we can talk and allow persons to see that, hey, if this is happening, there has to be a good that's coming out, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, we have to seek for the good in the situations that surround us. And of course, education. We always talk about education, but in a formal sense, persons need to be educated that when things come to an end, it doesn't mean that it has ended. It's just opening doors and
Mm-hmm.
opportunities for someone else to fill. You know what? Let me tell you something. When my father died, 2012, I could not understand why. But it was after his passing, and I realized what actually happened. I looked at the things that happened after, and I realized that, you know what? God knew exactly what he was doing. So looking at it from that standpoint, in a season of mourning, there is still opportunity for persons to
We lost Elamure a minute there. Um, so in the meantime, so sorry, we just have some challenge there with him. We have just lost him. Bishop, let me come to you and ask you though. Then, what role does gratitude play in making peace in goodbye? Because there's a good in it, and I think that is why the word says goodbye and not just bye. So there's a good in it. Either way, either direction, there must we see the good in goodbye. Either direction it go. So what role then gratitude play in in making peace with that goodbye that you have to say?
Amen. Thank you for that question. One of the things that's very important is that we must always prepare emotionally for goodbyes. Okay, prepare your heart to because it will affect us, right? And one of the good thing about goodbyes is that in some cases when you have actually invest in somebody, let's say even for your kids, you have done your best, you have sent them to school, they've finished university and so on, and they are moving on, they're moving out, they're moving on to another place, into a career and so on. That's a good thing. It's painful
Mm-hmm.
because you wouldn't mind to have them with you, most of the time, have them in eyesight, right? But also there is a good in it, right? Sometimes when you train up people, even in the church, and you have watched them grow from a new convert, and now they become ministers and so on, and they gotta go, and you see them start a ministry, or in if be a part of another ministry, and doing very well. You can look back and say, oh yeah, that's good, that's good. And I believe that Jesus saw us like that sometime, when look at us coming from nothing, or we wash us and he cleansed us, like Ezekiel, as he said in Ezekiel 16, and he said, that's my boy, man, that's my boy,
Mm-hmm.
that's my
Mm-hmm.
boy, where I'm taking him from. Look at him now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So as you said, there's not always a bad stuff. Sometimes when you send people off to ministry from one province to the next, or from one state to the next, and to put them in charge, and you see they're doing good, it's urged for you, wish that they were with you, right? But there's a good in that, right? You just enjoy basically seeing yourself in them. And sometimes they when people are with you for a long time, especially in ministry, they begin to talk like you, they begin to preach like
Mm-hmm.
you, and you sit down and you hear them. Sometimes I heard preachers preaching, and people with them can basically finish the sentence when they're preaching.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
Yes. Oh
because
yes. Oh yes.
and I believe that there's a there's a good in that. You feel so good, you feel so proud that you have invested yourself in this one. Jesus got to go, and it was tough for his disciples to go,
Mm-hmm.
and Jesus wanted his disciples to recognize that there is a good in him leaving. They could not see, because sometimes it's after they left that you see the good. Jesus said to them, look, man, if I don't go, the comforter can't come. Right,
Mm.
right, and so on. So even Jesus have an issue. Well, that was disciples rather have an issue to see the good in him going, right? But later on, they recognize that there was a good in him going, right? When Paul said, well, I'm not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ, the power of
Hmm.
God and the salvation, and so on.
Salvation.
And so sometimes you will not see the good. Your emotions rise. You can't think properly. It rise over the good. But it's after they left
Hmm.
that you have actually see the good. That's why writers say it was good that I was afflicted, but was not while he was going through. It was
No,
after, right? So it's after the person leave, and after a while, and the dust settles, so to speak. Then you said, boy, I
it
think
was
this was
good.
the right thing. It was the right decision, right? And so anybody here who is maybe dealing with something like this, and people have left you or you have left, and you're still hurting and feel the pain, wait till the dust settles a little bit, right? Then you are going to see the reason, because sometimes God got to separate you to bless you. Sometimes God got to
Woo.
separate you to grow you, right? Sometimes God got to separate you to take you to the next level. He got to separate you to give you another skill. He got to separate you to manifest a gift that he put in you that was not functioning because somebody was using the gift that you should be using, right? And so on. So, but just wait a while until the dust settles, until the tears finish flow, and you start being emotional about it, and then you're going to see that it was good.
Good.
God,
So, Bishop, you're saying then that the blessing in goodbye can also be the blessing to new beginnings. Because it's then when the Lord separates you, then giftings and so forth that can come alive that maybe was otherwise dormant. So you're saying
yes.
that there is new big. Talk to me about the new beginnings that we can embark in the minute we say goodbye. Because I think sometimes goodbye trap us in a space that no longer serve us. Goodbye chop us in a place that we're not even being getting sorry, getting that help. So talk to me about the ability to say goodbye so you can walk in that season now of blessing, that new beginning.
Yeah, because sometimes goodbye is removing the crutches,
Ooh, all right
right?
now.
Because you depend on this person, they become a crutch to you. They become your strength, right?
Mm,
Right? They become your go-to person, right? They become the one that you depend on and that you feel like you cannot do without, right? They become that person that holds you up, hold up your hand all the time. And so therefore you find yourself now leaning on them and feeling like, boy, you can't do without them. Your gifting is not being manifested and being shown, and so on. And so therefore when God removed them, it might be painful for a while, because now you got to learn how to walk without crutch, and you might walk and hop a little bit,
mm-hmm.
right? You might even fall down, right? But it's part of the teaching process, is to learn now, is to teach you all over again, right? How to walk again, how to be independent again, because some of you are not independent when some people are around you, right? You can't function without them, right? You have to
Mm,
pass everything to them, everything. Yeah, man, they becomes your mind, because you can make a decision. You got to run everything by them. Not saying that that's not wrong to have people that you can run stuff by, but they become, in a way, your God, so to speak, right? Because you lean on them so much, you want them so much, right? And so God had to move them away, so that you now can say, you know what, I can do this. And sometimes God have to show you, man, you can do this. And brethren, when you recognize that you really did not need all of that and them the way you thought you need them, the sky is the limit to where we are going. All of a sudden new ideas start popping in your head. All of a sudden new visions, new aspiration, new goals. All of a sudden you begin begin to believe in you again, right? All of a sudden, you become the passenger, you become the driver in your own car again, right? You begin to steer your life, steer your ministry, steer your calling again, right? Instead of depending on others to steer it for you, right? So it is good, right, when some people leave you, and you know, and it's okay. I'm take the towel, take the handkerchief, you know, and cry a little bit, and
Right.
so
Yes.
don't stay there. Pick yourself up, right, and like a man, and tell yourself, yeah, I can do this. I can do all things through Christ who strengthened me.
Strengthen
Let me
me.
tell you, if they were meant for you to remain right there all the time of your life, God would not cause them to go. They
Woo.
still will be there. And so you have to reassure yourself with the scripture that said all things work
Work
together for
together.
good to them that love God. So if you are
Yes.
love God, then you are called according to his promise. And they decided to go. Amen. It's for you to say, oh, okay, God, okay, thank you. You're doing something new in this season. God bless you, sir.
Oh man, Bishop, this is powerful. This is powerful. Now I want you to hashtag remove the crutches and move on. Bishop said a lot of time it's because of the crutches. Now I want you to do that as a hashtag. Remove the crutches and move on. I don't know who it is, but I'm telling you, this is for you. Remove the crutch. You can do it by yourself. Remove the crutches and move on. Stay right here with us on HEG Radio. We are talking about the good insane goodbye. And remember, it's Pastor Clive birthday's edition. Tomorrow is his birthday. So if you're just joining us, I'll chime in and send him some love. We're going to take a quick break right here on HEG Radio. And of course, when we come back, we're coming back with Pastor Clive. So stay right here with us. Don't move. We'll be right back.
You realign me, you answer me, and now I stand in victory. What a mighty God.
HGG Radio.
Are you ready to amplify your message and reach hearts with purpose?
Introducing HGG Advertising, your partner in spreading the gospel and connecting with the Christian community.
Churches, Christian-based businesses, listen up.
With HGG Advertising, you can reach your audience through powerful radio campaigns.
Engage hearts, inspire minds, and grow your community with HGG Radio, which is already reaching 136 countries worldwide.
We specialize in promoting Christian values and helping businesses aligned with faith-based principles.
Whether it's a church event or your business rooted in Christian values, HGG Advertising is here for you.
Connect with us and let's share your message with purpose.
HGG Advertising, spreading the gospel, connecting communities. Email us today at ads@hggradio.ca. That's ads@hggradio.ca. Or call us today at 825-343-4486.
HGG Radio.
You know, when I first came to Canada 20 something years ago, all I want was Jamaican food, Jamaican food, Jamaican food.
Looking for a Jamaican restaurant in Edmonton? A Yamida Jamaican restaurant and bakery. Get your oxtail, curry goat, jerk chicken, rice and peas, ackee and saltfish, fried dumplings, patties, and so much more. A Yamida Jamaican restaurant and bakery. Opening hours Mondays to Thursdays 11 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Visit them today at 4435 118 Avenue or call 780-479-1900. Top African Fashion, the one-stop shop for all your African needs for men, women, and children. Top African Fashion. We sell anchor and lace fabrics, wigs, jewelry, African traditional beads, matching shoes and bags for ladies. We also carry shoes for men and kids, belts, and so much more. Top African Fashion for all season, occasion, and celebration, church, wedding, and graduation. Top African Fashion. Open every day. Visit us today at 9338 118 Avenue, Edmonton, or call 780-224-7339. Top African Fashion.
Thank you for staying here with us on HGG Radio, Iron Man Empowerment Podcast. We're talking about the blessing, the good in saying goodbye. And of course, we were just talking with Bishop, and also we're celebrating Pastor Clive's birthday on tomorrow. So today we're giving you the opportunity, of course, to chime in the chat and send him greetings. And so, Pastor Clive, we are coming to you, picking back on and Bishop have given us so many gems. I'm telling you, we can pack up and go home. We can run the aisle and just start dance. Somebody needed that, and Bishop have given you exactly what you needed to hear. And trust me, I said we need to just type this in the chat. Hashtag, that's the number sign, remove the crutches. All right. So, Pastor Clive, come on in, add something to it.
Bishop says something that is so critical, because sometimes when you're trying to hold on to persons who God said they have expired, it's time for them to go. And the longer you hold on, is the more damage they are doing in your life. But because of Christianity or because of love, you say, boy, and because of the crutches, and you depend on them. As Bishop would say, you're not thinking for yourself anymore. You're really, it's like, I have a business. We have 2 secretaries, and we depend on him heavily for, ever since we start the business. When somebody quit, I'm telling you, the load and the weight and the confusion. What am I saying? I'm saying is that as a person, you have to know when to be able to let go and says, I need to find me. I need to be able to can rely on my own strength without the crutches, and be able to say, let go. And because if you don't let go some people, it's going to cause more problem. Somebody say red flag. When you see red flag, you have to just know, say it's a red flag. Don't wait 2-3 years in a one red flag. And because and there are times people hold on to you because of what you can give them, not necessarily want you for anything else. And not because they're Christian. Some of us are users, and they want to use you. And when they finish with you, trust me, you're hungry with your own self because of who you are as a person. So let go and just say goodbye, move on, and that doesn't stop you from loving and helping other people. But you have to learn to just. I've been 50 years tomorrow, and I've seen so many things in my life, and I've come to the place where I would have. This topic is just a time is just so timely. I would have hold on and try to hold on to some people in my life and hold on and hold on. But now I've learned to just let go and says, listen to me. If you have some people who are seasonal, they come for a season. They're not permanent. And the moment that you want it to be permanent is the more you're going to find yourself in a high blood pressure, find yourself that you wake up early in the morning and want to leave your house. You want to get to work on time before they get there, especially if they're on your job. You want to be the first to gone. You don't want to see them in the parking lot or even at church. You have some, trust me, just be you, happy with you. And if you have a friend and you realize that the friend is drawing you into a place where it's causing your sanity, cut loose, man. Cut loose. That doesn't mean you don't love them. It's just meaning that, listen to me, you're not good for me in this time. Blame it on yourself. I am not mature enough to deal with you right now. I got to deal with my maturity. Because if I leave, you're gonna cause me to do things that I'm not supposed to do. I have some people that you have to learn how to. You have to stay, Rev. You have to stay far to learn about them, so you can deal with them. But if you go close,
love them from a distance. It's obvious the Lord is taking us in 2 different directions, and I'll allow Him to deal with you over here. I'll stay here.
You stay there.
To do that. Bishop, there's a question in the chat, and it says, Pastor Clive, since you're on, what do you do when your leader is upset and won't speak to you when it's time to move on?
Well, that's not your problem, that's their problem.
He needs to deal with his heart. Because Bishop talk about the ability when he sees people grow and elevate in ministry, and he feels so good to see them moving on to that level and that support and knowing that he have played that role in their life.
You see, sometimes persons don't want to let you go because of what you have contributed and what you have done and what you can bring to the table. Again, I just said it. Sometimes people are just there to use you, and not necessarily because they don't want to see you go. If you can't contribute nothing, you're zero from zero is zero. But if you're bringing 10 to the table, of course I want you to stay. For me, I don't care what you're bringing to the table. If there's 0 or 100, if it's time for you to go, I just embrace it's time for you to go. Now,
Yes.
did it happen overnight? No. I would have gotten used and run over, and things would have happened in my past. Trying to hold on to people where God is saying, just let them go, just let them go. And when it finally come, when they have decided God have to rip, how God went down to Sodom and pull out Lot. Sometimes God have to just reach down and pull you out of your life.
Out. Yes.
Sometimes his person just happen to, why I get a job transfer and I may have to move on. Sometimes God does allow those things to happen, to pull them up, because God can't get to deal with you because of persons in your life. So when God will uproot them, trust me, hallelujah. It's just what it is.
Thank you, Pastor Clive. I know Bishop has to leave us a little early today. But Bishop, just before you leave us, sir, I have a last question for you. Bishop, can you discuss the concept on boundary? Because there's boundaries, in ending toxic relationship. Now, when we recognize it's toxic and we have to, what are boundaries that we need to put in place?
Okay. I just want to say this just before I answer that question. I know there was a guy that worked with me who have an old Honda Civic. It started rotting down. He fixed it and gone to the mechanic with almost every week. At work, go to almost every week. He's at the mechanic shop trying to fix it, and we keep on saying, "Man, it's time for you to let go of this car. It's over 20 years old, man." And he will smile and so on. And one day I asked him, "Why you hold on to this car?" He said that his 3 children, right, was basically born in this car. This is a car that take them to the hospital when his wife was pregnant. This is the car that take them back from the hospital, right? This is the car that take them to their doctor's appointment and so on. And he said they just, this is when my wife first come, this is the car that picked her up at the airport and so on. He said, and they're just so much, when I look at this car, there's just so much in this car, so much memories. It's hard to let it go. And when it finally happened that he have to let it go, he have to call the scrapyard to come and pick it up. He couldn't watch. Is his son have to do it for him? And I asked, "How do you mind that?" He said, "I cry." Big man, over 50. Right.
Sentimental value. He's so attached, Bishop.
He was so attached, but now he's driving a SUV, a Cura. I asked him, "Do you miss that car now?" He said, "No, this is so good." Right. So sometimes when you hold on to something, right, you don't recognize what you will get later on in life. The good in it, it will be so good that you will forget. It will let you forget that old stuff that you used to drive.
That's so deep,
and
Bishop.
Relationship can be like that sometimes, right? Sometimes God wants to give you something brand new, right? But you keep on holding on to the past, hold on to what you have let go, what you're supposed to let go, and you're holding on to that. And it's costing you. It was costing him money upon monies, and you always have to repair, and you always have to explain yourself, and you always have to give a reason why you do this and why you do that, and so on. And you always have to walk on pin and needles, right? Because you do not want to let go when God said, "I have something brand new for you."
Oh my Lord!
Right. So be very careful, right? And yes, there are boundaries when, as you talk about, toxic relationship and so on, and how you let go. Those relationships are very, very important, because remember, the Lord said you have to be careful when you take up wheat. Try to take out tears, right? We can also go. So you got to be very, very careful, right?
Mm-hmm.
How you deal, even in ministry, you deal with these people, because if you don't deal with them right, even though they were toxic, you can cause a split,
Yes.
right? Because they also have other people who are attached to them. Okay, so you can cause a split, you can cause others to be hurt, you can cause others to look down on you in a negative way, right? So it is always best if it's possible to do it in a in a kind of I put now a group setting, with that you alone make that decision, right? To separate, right, and so on. It's always good to have a good talk with them before, and let them know the exact reason why they are leaving. And if you can, if there's nobody around, if you can tape that discussion that you have with them, and so on, that is very, very important that you do, right? When people become toxic in your life, right, it's very important that you because they will contaminate you and everybody that is around,
That's right.
right? And so therefore, do not delay. The more you delay is the more toxic that relationship becomes. Right, the
Mm.
more you delay is the more toxic that relationship become, and the more thing that they affect, right? It's like you have a bad apple. If you put that bad apple with good
Yes, sir.
apple, right,
Yes.
isn't it funny that the good apple doesn't convert the bad apple
The
to
bad
be,
apple.
but it's
The-
the bad apple that turned the good apple bad?
yes, the whole basket spoiled.
The whole basket spoiled. So you got to take that thing out. And sometimes when you take that thing out, that apple already spew some stuff and the other apple, sometimes you got to wash them stuff off. So sometimes when
Mm.
you get separated, you got to wash yourself, you got to wash your
Woo.
spirit, you got to wash your soul, you got to wash those that are around you, because the toxic becomes so toxic. You got to get stuff out of yourself and get stuff out of other people, right? Otherwise, they will remain toxic also, right? Because they have already been contaminated. Anyway, God bless. I'm gonna miss my appointment. I want to miss
Bishop, we don't
it.
want you to miss your appointment. This is deep, Bishop. So tell you what, next week we gotta come back for a part two. This is it's
That's fine
heating
with
up,
me. I'll
Bishop.
be here.
Yes, it's heating up, and the people are loving it. So thank you, Bishop. We know you have to go early today. So thank you
God,
so much for being here with us.
God
We are talking about the good in saying goodbye. Pastor Clive, we recognize that there is good in saying goodbye. Yeah, and we absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. That's a blessing. Bishop is sharing with us, and he's talking to us about the power in saying goodbye, because oftentimes we get locked into a place that no longer serve us, and it's all because we are saying I want to be good, I want to be a good Christian, and a lot of time we use Christianity as the mask to hold us in a toxic place, in a place that no longer serve us, and we're saying because I'm saved, because I'm a Christian, I am going to hold on even when it hurt. I am going to hold on. But and what happened is that you stay in that place and you become bitter and not better.
That's right.
And so before you get to that place of bitterness, we are saying to you, you must recognize when the time come. If it no longer serve you, it's time to let go. If you are unhappy continuously, it's time to let go. If the thing is not feeding your spirit, feeding you emotionally, feeding you physically, it's time to let go. If it become emotionally drained, and it's time to let go. Whether it's a church, whether it's a relationship with a friend, there is a good in saying goodbye, and we want you to recognize the good. And that is why in the English language, the word isn't just bye, no, Pastor Clive. It's not just bye, it's goodbye, because I cannot see the good right now. But trust me, there's a good in saying goodbye. And so today we want to have that tough conversation about the good in saying goodbye. All right, so we have Ella, we have a friend joining us on the program. He has a question, a friend of mine. So he is joining us. So let's hear his question and then see if I have to take good in saying this goodbye. So uh, so Lennox, welcome to the program, sir.
Thank
Talk to us.
you. Good morning. Good morning to the panel and good morning to your listeners at HGG Radio. I have a personal one that I want to ask, and I'm hoping that the panel will help me with it.
Bishop
How
is not
do
here.
you how do you know when to say good? Because I've heard you spoke about vehicles and stuff like that, but as it relates to a business, one that you have poured into, one that you have nurtured from start, and it would have, blossomed, and it would have provided for your family. You would have, paid the bills, the mortgage, but it's not doing well. It has taken a U-turn. How do you know when to let go of that business, when to say goodbye? Because I've heard the saying many times that every business go through a rough patch. Every business go have its ups and its down. How do you know when to say, you know what, this was working for a particular season, but it's not working now. I'll have to say goodbye to it. Or how do you distinguish a time when you have to say later rather than to say goodbye? All right, let me hit the reset button. It was working before, but it's not working right now. Let
Mhm.
me, put a rest to it for now, and I'll come back to it maybe 2 years from now, 3 years from now. But as it relates to a business, two-part question: when to say goodbye, move on, or and when to distinguish and when to know not to say goodbye but to say later.
To later. I'm so glad the businessman is on. Pastor Clive can handle this. He has that experience in building and growing business. Pastor Clive, help
Well,
us here, sir.
sometimes you have persons that you would hire them to do a specific job, and as a business person, you have a training budget, and you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to train this person, and based on your initial assessment, you will say, you know what, this person will be good if they trained. But sometimes people come in your life and it's not about the job anymore, it's about what they can get out of it. So it affects their ability to perform the way how you initial see them. And you know them, you grow relationship with them, but you have to put a package together and say, listen, you know what, it's not working out. You know what I mean? Like I've come to, would have sit with people for like 1 year and it's just not working out.
But Rev, and I don't want to cut you, but what about when it's you are the owner and you're doing the business and you're saying, okay, this business is taking more from me than the business is giving to me. It's no longer working. My expenses is more than my income.
You
When
have
it
to
is
learn to say goodbye.
it's time
You have
is
to,
it time to say goodbye? If
oh
you
yeah.
see it's kind of it's creating a little balance here and there. This month you're up, next month you drop, this month you and it's struggle. Do you say goodbye or do you say maybe I need to pause it and come back to it later?
That's
In
right.
your experience, tell us how you, because I think that's where his question is going.
So with okay, I have multiples. I have a few companies. When I say few, or let me say the one company, but from that we have different arms
Arms,
of
right.
this company. Of course, we would hire managers to manage, and that's where I was truly trying to get to. Like you would have,
Mhm.
we have a cabinet division, we have a commercial division, you have a residential, we have a landscaping division, so forth and so on. So when you hire people to do the job of for that division of the company, because I cannot spread all over the entire um, 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 company. So you hire people. You have to learn how to say, listen, I started this, but it's not making sense. It's pulling you, it's pulling your time, it's causing problem at home, it's causing problem, you know what I mean? Like those mental problem, all type of different problem. Nothing wrong. We say, look here, I'm gonna do a reset. I'm gonna come back at it at a later time. It's been 10 years now since we have not touched our our landscaping division. So yesterday, it was last night, yesterday, this week actually, we're talking about revamping the whole thing and having somebody coming in and dealing with it. So imagine that reset can be 10 years, could be
Mm.
3 years, 2 years. So it is important because the end of the day, it is your health is what is causing you. You must know how that part of the business is causing you the stress. And
Mhm.
nothing wrong go and work for somebody and say, hey, let me do that and go learn the business more.
But how do you assess that, Pastor Clive? Because, for example, you push the pause button for 10 years, right? And then you said no is the right time, or I think no is a good time for us to start to have the conversation about coming back. How do you know when it's the right time to hit that reset button and then said, okay, we can come back here? How do you know that because what you're saying, timing is very important.
I
So
mean,
how do you assess? Are you assessing based on how much is it pulling from us financially? Is it putting us in a financial strain where it's bleeding us? We're not seeing the profit margin here. So maybe it's time for us to go. Or is it because it is stretching us thin? We don't have the bandwidth to do it. At what point you hit the reset, and what are some of the signs to say, okay, you need to push the pause or you need to call this a day?
okay, to push the pause is when something is causing your financial, your family, you're pulling money from your mortgage, you're pulling, you're going into debt to finance what's supposed to be financing you.
Mm.
It wouldn't make sense for you to be financing something that is financing you. So you have to look at it and says, well, this you only can put so much into it, and you may do it for a little while. No, it's gonna. Let me tell you something with that type of stress. That type of stress cause a lot of headache. That type of
Mm.
stress cause a lot of make you feel sick. And what you don't want to do is to feel sick from something that's supposed to be giving you strength. You know what I
Right.
mean? So you have to learn to say bye. No, when you're talking about resting it for a while, is by um, identify where you have gone wrong. You build more relationship with people. So let me just use the landscaping. Right now we have at least 15 people or 15 homes that we can manage. So then you could start out with something like that and say, hey, let's run with this. At least it will sustain the person who is running it. I'm just using that as an example.
Right.
So you have to identify when it's time to go back to it to make just to know that listen, this thing is can sustain itself, it can manage itself, it can covers itself, whether you doing it or you're paying somebody to do it. You have to make sure. Like when I just started the business, um, it was me, myself, and I. That's it. Nobody else. So I had no overhead. Everything was done in my vehicle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I started and I've never stopped. This has been 24 years later. I just never stopped, right? It so you have to and there was a point in time that you think that things are not working out, but you identify what wasn't working and you build from what's not working. There was no time that I had to shut down anything. I had time I shut down other divisions of it, but not the core of
At
it.
the core of it.
Yeah.
No problem. Thank you so much, Pastor Clive. We want to switch back from business and dive right back in. Elamior is joining us here, and we're having the tough conversation with regards to the good in saying goodbye. We dissect a little bit there and talk about business, but we want to come on right back. And Elamior, I want to ask you, what are some of the healthy ways to grieve a loss of a relationship or friendship, or someone died of your father has passed and you've suffered loss before? We want to find out what are some of the healthy ways to grieve this. And sometimes there are persons in relationship, in marriages, and it don't work out anymore. Friendship that you have to move on from. What are some of the healthy ways to grieve this?
Thank you, Dr. Bryan, and it's good to be back. I know there's a little noise, humming sound, but that's all right.
Yes,
Um,
you're good.
healthy ways to deal with a loss or grieve or whatever it may be. Well, the first thing is that a person must learn to talk about it. You have to release what is on the inside so that your body, your mind has an outlet, and everything is not just bottled up. Because if there's a pressure situation on the inside, you're gonna have some form of explosion. So that's one main way. You have to talk about it, man. It may hurt, but you have to talk about it. Another
But you
thing
have
that
to
is
talk.
good for persons to do is to find like social activities. You have to do things that you love. And please do not do like I do sometimes. Started to binge eat. Don't do that. It takes away the whole stress of the matter, but it actually causes other stresses to happen. So one good thing, yes, you communicate, you talk about it, you release it. The other thing is that you find something to do to distract all that
Mhm.
attention. And some persons tend to want to be alone, and that is a no-no, because when you're alone, what your mind actually does, it rehearses that situation. It goes over and over and over, trying to find a reasonable explanation to get a form of comfort from, but you'll never get that. So it's not good when persons remain isolated when they're going through their time of grief or mourning. You
Yeah.
find a companion, persons that you can associate with. If you're a football player, go play some football. Go,
Mhm.
go do something. Get active in order to distract that which is happening. Another thing too, we have to recognize how important our mind is in all of this. Our minds are powerful. Conversation
Mhm.
can be with others, but it also can come from reading books that speaks about overcoming. Reading books, man. Read, because you're edifying yourself. You're going into the minds of others and you're plucking from that which will help you to overcome your present distress and your situation. It's all good when we talk to others, but there are some real good minds, some real powerful minds out there that, listen, we have Pastor Monroe. He died years ago, but when you go through his books, they're powerful, they're
Yeah.
impactful, and they will change you when you listen to his sermons. So you communicate, you read, and you listen to positive things. But the main thing that I want to say is that it may damage you if you stay amongst persons who constantly keep you in that situation.
Yep.
Surround yourself with positive thinkers, with persons that knows how to move on. Because if you're walking with 10 persons and none of you knows how to move on, you're all going to stay the same place.
Yes,
But
sir.
choose persons around you that are able to move on and see the good. And of course, in mourning, we have to understand the principle of time. The principle of time. Nothing is forever.
Mm.
Nothing in this physical world is forever. And you have to tell yourself, get your mind to that place to know that, hey, things must come to an end. And my
Mhm.
ground for everything that I do is the Bible. There is a time and a season for everything under the sun. Build your faith in God. Believe what the word of God says, and that will help you in times of distress when you have to say goodbye. That will help you. God bless.
Elder Muir, I'm going to flip the switch on you as it came to mind. What do we say to the person who has been nothing but good, have done their very best, they have tried, and
Mhm.
here it is, they have been told goodbye? Because as I think about it, you cannot adequately explain Mephibosheth until you have been dropped by someone that you trust, until your cripple has a cause. So, what do you say? And it's a cause that is out of your control. You have done your very best in that relationship, in that friendship. You have given your all. You have given everything that you have been the best man you can be, the best woman that you could be. and then he just get up and says, goodbye, I'm walking out. How do I see the good? How do I feel again? Because now my cripple has a cause. How do I start crawling again? Talk to me, because there's somebody on this the line that I'm sure have this question. How do I maneuver? How do I pick up myself? My cripple have now has a cause.
That's a very powerful question, Dr. Bryan. And I know that many persons have been caught in this situation. It's a powerful question. And I don't say I have the answers for everything, but one thing I know, when you find yourself, let me jump to the Bible first. There's a scripture that says, don't let your don't let evil or whatever happen to you. I don't remember exactly where it is, allows
Good
you to become.
spoken of.
No, not that one. Allows you to become evil, right? So, so it's not easy for a person that has done all good and to be just thrown on. You know, the first thing that's going to happen, the person's going to start wondering, and the hurt of that situation will automatically come, right? Now, for me, I would generally seek to find out where that person's trust is, or the background of the individual. And in finding out the background, then I'll be better able to tackle that situation. Because it's hard, Dr. Bryan. It's not a 1, 2, and everything is over, right? It takes all the letters of the alphabet and all the numbers in numerology, right? And so we have to assess situations individually. That person has poured out, they will be hurting. But again, if that person truly is of an understanding mind, all you can say is time will really run its course and God will come through for you. It's not easy. I'm not like it's not an easy one. It's not an easy one. I've been there already. You've poured out, you've been doing all good, and then it's misconceived and persons are shut you down like boom.
Thank you
It's
so
like
much,
even
Elder.
if
Mhm.
even when you come to me now and you're saying something after that, I will listen, but truly it doesn't really take away that true hurt. And honestly, that only comes from God, because you know you've been pure, pouring out your heart. You know you've been giving up your 100% in all situations, and yet you're just dropped. Just allow
Yes.
that person to know that there's still love and God is still there. God is still there with them, and God saw it, God knows it, and He's touched by every feelings that we feel.
Your
So
infirmities.
He will see us through. That's it.
Thank you, Pastor Clive. Thank you,
Wow.
Pastor Elder Muir. Pastor Clive, I don't want to put your business out in the street, sir. But I want to come to you. Have been dropped. Give everything that you can. Be the best man that you can be. And then it come the time where there is no other choice than saying goodbye, or you have been told goodbye after giving everything that you have. Don't want to put your business out in the street, but talk to us from that place of hurt, that place of where do I go from here? Because I know that the Lord has have me cover, but that initial step, that shock of is this really happening to me right now? Where do I go from here? How do I start to pick up the pieces before I find that inner strength to say, in everything give thanks? Because there's a process before I get to in everything give thanks, because there's a shock effect that is happening. Talk to me, Pastor Clive. You're in that state right now, that shock effect. You've just been told, I have to say bye. What is the next move from here?
First thing first, you find yourself in a situation.
And
Uh,
Pastor Clive, we don't want the pastor to talk now. We don't want the pastor. We want the people on the line don't want the pastor at this point. They don't want. If you agree with me on the line, chime in. They don't want the pastor. They want from that state of shock. I am hurt right now. I'm falling and I can't
you
get
know,
up.
you know what? Let me say this. Let me say this. Let me say this. Um, years ago, years and years ago, I had gone through some things in my life, and I was really hurt, where I had to say goodbye, and multiple goodbyes, and when I say I tell myself I wasn't going back to church, I leave everything, and it took God to really reach down in my spirit, in my heart, the heart of bitterness, because I did not say goodbye in a good way, because the hurt was there. And when the Lord met me on the road, they have to say, like a Saul encounter with God. And God said, I'm going to remove from you, the Lord told me this, I'm going to remove from you things that hurt you to the core because of your personality, because of who you are. That's when things are happening, I will shield you. So after that, people come and people hurt me, and person will say, how in the world do you allow this? How in the world this? And I'm telling you, there's no hard feeling. There's no, the hurt is there. I am upset, and I'm like, I should be upset. I should get mad, and I'm like, I just like, you know what? It's in the hands of the Lord, because it's not Pastor Clive. This is God. This is not Brother Clive. This is God that really take me to this place of maturity where it's not me that's don't want, man. Back in the day, I would have grab up, and people get knocked out.
Yes, that's a fight in 2 seconds.
Trust me, man. I used to love fight bad. Trust me. So you know, and so it is God. After years of, the Lord would have molded me and make me and fashion me, so that when things happen where you get hurt, you can look at the hurt and says, okay, God, what am I to learn in all of this? You know what I mean? So Brother Clive would have react. Trust me, Brother Clive would knock teeth out. Brother Clive would make people face dent up, like, when you have them pan business, when you dent it, it just like a steel pan. So, yes, trust me, stay there. But the God who reached down in my spirit, in my heart, just give me the memory of what Clive would have been, and says, well, Clive is not that. So you're gonna be like this, the new man. So when you're saying feel that hurt coming and that pain coming, how do I deal with the hurt and deal with the pain? I said, God, I just say, you know what? It's in the hand of God. Do I feel it? Do I, it's there, but it's not effective, or it's not, I don't feel the pain like I used to feel.
Now, so you're saying that you will get through, because at that particular time, that shock effect, that hurt, that crying, that you want to pack your Samsonite luggage and take a guilty trip and leave and left everything and just run away. But then afterwards, after you're through crying, after you're through hurting, then you are looking beyond that to say, Lord, what is the lesson in it? And you find that there's a lesson. What is the lesson you have learned? What is the I'm working on a book called Lessons I've Learned Along the Way. What are the lessons you have learned from this?
Let me say this. You have learned lessons where you do not allow yourself to become vulnerable in the hands of people, because mankind is just going to be mankind. I would have found myself in the different situation, both in church and outside of the church. Find yourself because you love people, because God loves people. And you'll find yourself trying to help people. And in the process of helping people, your good become evil spoken of. So now it now where you start to have to become your own detective, where you're saying you're going to have to detect when people come into your life, and it's good for you to do that, and for persons who have a soft heart and want to let everybody in. It's not everybody you're letting. Not everybody.
Makes sense.
And when I
so
say
we have to guard, we have to put up safeguards. You're saying guard yourself. Yes.
And you also have to do your own detective work. I have to learn that in my 50 years of being here. Like, for instance, I never used to do detective work and say, hey, let me find out about this or find out about that person or this person. But when they come later on, you're like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? Remember, relationship when you're getting yourself into relationship, or when you get yourself into friendship, or getting yourself into persons who are coming into your circle, whether it's be a church or work or whatever, it's good to do background. My wife is good at that. Like, we have a few rental properties. I put in my business out there. But, trust me, she will have that place locked up for months because she's digging. She's digging. And she knows
Making
exactly
sure.
what she want from what she
Makes
wants.
sense.
And I'm like, babe, just rent the place. Just man, it's costing money one time. It's locked up for like 3-4 months. She's like, nope. And we are
Got
going
to
through
do
like
it.
hundreds of people to find the one. And I'm like, and it makes sense that one person lived there for 5 years and we have no
Right.
issues. You know what I mean? Those are long-term
Which
relationships.
makes sense. So we're saying doing our background, do our checks, make sure we safeguard ourselves. Thank you to all our listeners that are joining us right here on HEG Radio. We are so grateful for you. Elder Donovan Brown, good morning. Broken with the Purpose Lady Glenda from there in Atlanta. God bless you. Thank you. I see Lady Masha Ben from Florida, my dear cousin, and Anita, and all those who are joining us from near and far. We want to truly thank you for being here with us on the program. Elder Muir, I want to come to you with this question before we change here. This one is hot, and I think I love this one today. A lot of people I'm finding really are enjoying this discussion. Elder, give me some points, some signs, the common signs that a friendship has run its course, and also that a relationship has run its course. What are some of the common signs that you'll see? And I said, all right, based on this sign, yeah, I know what this is. This is done. What are some of the common signs? Relationships, friendships. It's all relationships. Whether platonic or sexual relation. What are some of the signs? It's run its course. It's done.
All right. Thank you again, Dr. Bryan. And I feel like you're bowling some what you call those some bouncers at me. At me ducking.
Yeah. I'm dropping them right on your leg, right there.
Right. Yeah. Well, the signs that you can look out for. I mean, in relationships, there's something that's called communication. When that level of communication is going down, you have to keep your eyes open. Things are happening there, and many times the Lord would allow this to happen in a sense that you'll find yourself under pressure just to try to maintain the relationship, whether through communication, financially, or just being present. You know that things are slowly coming to an end because guess what? A bird never flies on one wing. I've never seen that. If you have, you can let me know. It takes two wings for the bird to fly. So if you're finding that it is becoming extremely stressful, overbearing, that you're actually being like, being sucked dry, then you have to be careful to know that it is time. Expiration is coming. Also, there are times when you realize that your level of thought, your level of conversation is not the level that the next person is at. You're pulling north. That's why the Bible would have put it this way. The Bible would have said that we must not keep company with an aggressive man, right? And a man that is quick to shed blood. So we have to understand now that these are signs that you look for. Two different outlook. The vision is different, the goal becomes different, and so you realize that you're not meshing anymore with that individual. You realize now that that person is now self-absorbed. When a person becomes self-absorbed, it means that therefore that they're not willing to foster a relationship. And therefore, if the person is self-absorbed, all you're going to be doing is harming yourself. And you're gonna listen. If you're in a water situation and a person is drowning, remember this: if you cannot swim, you cannot save the person. Now, if that person is pulling you down, you have to let go.
Yes.
That's it, or you're gonna
Yes.
die. And so it
Yes.
is with these relationships as well. We have to understand when it's time to go by the pressures that you feel. it's too hard. It's
Yes.
too hard. And one simple thing that a lot of people talk about is the phones. Just in general. Let's talk about relationship. Husband, wife. Our endeavor is to see that relationship continuing on and on. But when there is disrespect,
Mhm.
oh my God. And you've tried to correct it over and over, but the disrespect seems to go on without regard to you as an individual. You need to go. Let's leave the marriage now and let's go into just regular relationship, friends. If you have a friend and
Even
the
after
friend does not
counseling.
respect you,
That's right.
it's time to go.
Time to go.
It's only gonna get worse.
You heard
Oh
it
yeah.
right
so,
here
so,
on the Iron
so
Man.
yes, go ahead. I believe I've said
Just
what's
Dr.
laid on my heart.
Let
Yes,
me say,
thank you, Pastor Clive. Yes.
Dr.
Thank you, Ella.
Um, I'm trying to put it in a nicer way. Do we
No,
have?
we don't want it in a nice way, Pastor Clive. This is the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast where we have straight talk.
Let me say this: don't be in a relationship where you're the only one that's putting in.
Mm,
You're giving it the full 100%. Whether a friendship, if in my home, if my wife and I'm the only one that's always coming at a 90, and she's just coming at a 10. There's
yes.
no balance.
The main oxygen to the relationship.
You follow me? You must identify that I'm always at a 50. Okay, we go out together, and every time we go out, you're the one that's always, hey, can we go somewhere? Friendship. You know what I mean? Can we do this? Can we do that? You always go out. Oh well, you're paying. You're the one you're always the one. So the relationship becomes a 90-10. You know what I mean? You have to follow your father Jesus. Jesus came to us. He gave to us.
Mhm.
He's the one that's always. So if I when we before we got married, I said to my wife, I says, I will come 100%, and
All the time.
I want you to come
All the
100%.
time. It's not 50, it's 100.
You know what I mean? So if you're in a relationship and you find yourself all the time, like, okay, you go to the store, you see something nice for your friend, or vice versa, for whoever, whatever relationship that is, and you always be the one. Don't be used. Don't get used.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like if and some little things, are red flag, but don't feel as if you need them more than they need you. Believe
Yes.
me, they need you more than you need them.
Mhm.
This is not Pastor Clive. This is Brother Clive right now.
Yes, that's
You don't
right.
need them.
You don't need them.
As much as you think within yourself, and sometimes persons you don't like to be alone. You're not a loner, so you're like you're like to have and you find that one person, and you're like, man, you're trying to hold on to that relationship, but that person,
Mhm.
your best friend is not you.
All right now. All right, because Pastor Clive, I have a friendship that I've been in for the last I'll say going 18 years. And recently that friend did something that is really, really out of pocket. And I find that he was not taking ownership, but instead was trying to find everybody around him to cast the blame and point the finger. And I wasn't in agreement with him. And after 18 years, that friend said to me, it is obvious that we have grown apart. What I've recognized in this is that our values no longer align.
That's right.
And if you are not somebody that is accountable, then you and I cannot be friends. And after all that time, did it hit me at first? Yeah, maybe for a minute, but then it came to me automatically to say, two cannot walk unless they agree. And if
That's right.
your value, your belief, your core does not align with mine, then I realize we're not going to be in agreement. And what I said to him when I was giving him some instruction as how to correct course, he said, I will not do that. Would you do that? And I said, yes, I will, because my integrity will allow me to do that because I am a man of integrity. And if you cannot do that, it tells me that you have lack integrity.
Integrity.
And so you cannot be. And I said to my friends who have always been around, who travel with me and preach, Elder Donovan Brown, Minister Lennox Brown, Myra, we are a couple of us. But I said to them, I don't want you to become such great friends of mine that
Mhm.
you cannot tell me when I'm wrong. In other words, and I never tell them that. I tell them, you cannot tell me when my poop is stink.
That's right.
Yeah,
You don't
because
want a yes man. You want
I
somebody.
don't want a yes man. I
Exactly.
want you to hold me accountable that when I'm wrong, you said, listen, Reb, we didn't like that. That was wrong. And so I see that I had to walk away from a friendship for so long because of the fact that I tell you how I feel about you and I feel about what you have done. And so as a result, and I recognize you don't take accountability, I cut off and I disconnect. And
So
I disconnect from the root.
question for you. You say from a friendship.
Mhm.
Friendship, as I go back again, it's always two ways.
Yeah, man.
So maybe you're holding out again.
Hmm.
Your best friend has a best friend.
Right, but I recognize that the relationship no longer serve and who I think that I used to be to him, because a lot of time we have to understand our needs change, and nothing is wrong if you're in a friendship and you said my need has changed. My need has changed because our need changed. Maybe at that point I've been a mentor to him, train him, started with him, encourage him in ministry, all of that stuff, establish all of that, but his need has changed. And so where I am at and what I've poured into him, maybe I've come to the point where that's no longer valuable. I've received all I can, and so his need has changed, and that's perfectly fine. And so it is for us to know as well when that time it is to move on. I have to identify his need has changed. His values have changed, and who I value him as is not there. And so then I need to now sever, and you sever and see the good in saying goodbye, and not
That's right.
sever and be bitter and be mad with him that I can't see him and say hello. But the relationship that we have had has now severed and separated, but it's okay to say hello. So don't set up yourself for hurt by trying to make it back what it used to be. 15 years ago, we have grown. We have grown apart from 15 years ago, and that's no longer where it is. And so what are we saying? We must know how to move on without it don't have to be bad, it don't have to be festive, but I just need to realize that it no longer serves me and it's no longer serving him, and that is totally fine.
So,
Obviously, God is taking us in two different directions.
but that also goes on into marriage as well, where sometime in a marriage, you're there for 15, 20, 30 years, and as soon as the kids them graduate from college, university, you're like, okay, both of us are here. In COVID, I had to deal with, maybe not necessarily a person that comes to our church, but persons in general that, what? I didn't realize, some people get to really know who their spouse is in a lockdown situation in a place where they're spending 24 hours in the same space. My God, it was a good time for me. I really appreciate and love my wife for that, right? But then you have persons who cannot um, coexist for
Coexist in
more
the
than
same space.
sleep space more than for 8 hours, and for the 8 hours you're sleeping for 6, or you are for 10 hours and you're sleeping for 8. You know what I mean? And you can deal with them for only the 2 hour, 1 hour at the dinner, or 1 hour at breakfast, so forth and so on.
Mhm.
So it and then we do it all in the name of Christianity. We do it all
But
in the name
but guess what? Sometimes we love each other, but we really don't like each other. And there's a difference.
of
Because what you're seeing now in COVID and what you're seeing now, Elamure, after the kids gone and everything, is that we are married, but we really don't like each other. And we want persons to understand in relationship that there's a difference between love and like. You have to being around the person and always want to be cuddled up with them. It's not because you love it. I really like you. I laugh at your joke, and I can be my own self and funny around it because I really do like this guy. I really do like this girl. That is that they'll say, because sometimes we love each other and we establish a marriage and establish a relationship because we love each other, but we no longer like each other. As the marriage continues, as the relationship continues, I realize I no longer like you. And
wow.
it's
But
really
but
deep.
but how do we correct that though? We're going off tangent, but how do you correct something like that? You realize
It's
that, and the thing is, being married
mhm.
for 20 years actually means nothing in the sense that
No,
you have persons married for 5 years and they spend more time together
yes,
than the
because one of
person
the
that
things,
has been married for
especially
20 years.
but especially with children, because one of the things that we tend to do is this is the husband, this is the wife, and the children are in the middle. And if you notice even how family walk, if we walk at the park with our children, husband and wife, what do you see? The children in the middle, and even two, three children, and the both parents are at each end. And that is very bad, because what we have done, it is also become now the disposition of our marriages, that our children become in the middle and we are holding on to the children's hand. When the children move on to school and find their own relationship, you know what? We have been so far apart holding their hands that it is hard for us to come together. So you realize the children has now become the glue that is holding us. Now the children are no longer in the relationship. They have gone on to college, you have gone. Then you recognize that it's hard for us to come together because we're not used to holding each other's hand. We're used to holding on to the child and the child hold on to you. So no, that is missing. It's very difficult for us to come together. I realize I no longer know what it means to hold your hand in partnership because I've been holding on to the child's hand. So do I really? It's hard for me to find that I like you. And I mean, we're still involved sexually. We're still doing things, but that love, that liking, it's hard. So you have to rekindle, and that is why it's very important that even after a child come into the mid, one hold the child at the end, but I'm always holding on to the wife's hand, always holding on to the husband hand, and one of the parents hold the child. So when the child separate, we are always holding each other hand. Two children now come. The husband have one, the wife have one, but I still hold on to my wife's hand. And so after the children have gone and have their own relationship and own life, I'm still holding on to my wife's hands. So now you don't have to try to rebuild and rekindle. Now, if that has happened and you have them, you have to now find ways through communication, through counseling, through this. Go off, spend some time together, go to a couples retreat, something that bring you back in alignment and bring the glue together. We're out of time.
So there's no saying goodbye till death do us part.
There's no, in those relationships you can work on that, so you don't have to say goodbye. We can say we're saying goodbye to this stage that we are, and we're saying hello to that new place. Final word, Pastor Clive. We have to make our way out so we can make our way
I
for
hear
Lady Renee and the children.
I hear Elder Muir saying, so what do you do in a marriage where it's so toxic and you again you're trying to hold on to it for the rest of your life and it's toxic, you are dying. You have
Give
high,
it a shot.
give
Give
it
it
a
through counseling. We have to, because there are
shot.
times when
You've been through all of those. You've been through all of that. You've been through again, we're telling people to hold on for their dear life, but they're the one that's dying.
yeah, if
Dying.
it's not, listen, if it's not working, we try everything and it's not working, we must know when it has run its course and it's time to say goodbye. And we can do it amicably, we can do it lovingly, especially if you have children, especially if you have so much different things you share. We find a way. How do we coexist? How do we co-parent? How do we move on? Because it's obviously we no longer like each other. We no longer especially when respect gone through the door, we no longer respect each other. We need to find a way of saying goodbye and still continue to work together for the sake of the children or whatever we share, or businesses or stuff. Because it make no sense you stay in something that's no longer serving you. You would die. You can actually die of a broken heart.
Well, now that do your part.
You can die of you don't want to die of a broken heart. Being in a relationship that you're dying and you're still holding on to it in the name of being good. I just want to wrap. My listener says, as a minister, how do you know when to move on from the past when you were at the prime of your ministry and accept where you are now and pass the torch? Lord God, this is a whole discussion. Pastor Clive will save this topic for another time.
That's a topic. We're gonna have to. We have to get links. We may have to get him on to deal with that topic. That's a topic by itself.
Yeah, this is a whole topic. This is a topic by itself. So thank you, Lady Gladys Simmons. Yes, said happy birthday to everyone celebrating birthday today or tomorrow. Enough blessings, long and healthy life, and plenty of God grace surround you. Marsha Ben said, wonderful way to put it. Great analogy. So we want to thank everyone who have joined us today from near and far. Thank you so much for those who have chimed in and wish Pastor Clive a real radio boss, the CEO of HGG Radio. A happy birthday on tomorrow. Turn big number 50. Yes. And so we want to thank God and celebrate for his life and that he has lived to celebrate half a century. Enjoy your birthday and eat your food. All right, Pastor Clive. So enjoy yourself tomorrow. Elder Muir will do the preaching. And of course, you will be blessed. And I'm sure Elder Muir and the saints will celebrate you tomorrow at church. So, of course, enjoy your birthday, Pastor Clive. And you know that we love you so much and we're so appreciated for you. And of course, the entire HGG listeners chimed in and wish you a happy, happy birthday. We got to make our way out. So that's all the time we have for you today. But guess what? Next week, we're coming back, part 2. So that's all the time that we have for you today. We got to make way for Auntie Renee and the kids at the top of the hour. Thank you for joining me on this powerful conversation. Thank you for joining us on this powerful conversation about the good in saying goodbye. Remember, goodbye is not always an end, but often a new beginning in disguise. By embracing the lessons, love, and light from our past experiences, we can transform our lives and become the Iron Man and woman we were meant to be. As we close this episode, take a deep breath and remember that you have the strength to let go of what no longer serves you. You have the courage to create space for new opportunities, relationships, and experiences that will elevate your life. Keep in mind that goodbye is not a failure, but it's a fork in the road that will lead to growth, renewal, and transformation. So go ahead, take the leap, and trust God that He will catch you. So, on behalf of the entire production crew, we invite you to join us next week for part 2 on the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast, where we'll explore yet another topic, or rather, we will go deeper into this topic. We'll bring you part 2 next week. All right. And so we will help you to become the best version of yourself. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel on YouTube and on Facebook. You can download our app at Higher Ground Gospel Radio. Go to your application store and download it. All right. Follow us, like us, subscribe, share. And so you will continue to share your thoughts on our social media page using the hashtag Ironman Empowerment. Until next time, stay empowered, stay iron strong, and remember, the best is yet to come. Goodbye for now, and hello to the incredible possibilities that lies ahead. Take care. Until next time, Iron Man. Join us for the Iron Man Empowerment Podcast, where we discuss matters close to the heart. This and every Saturday at 8 a.m. until 9:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on HGG Radio. I am your host, Dr. Lincoln Bryan, alongside your co-host, Pastor Clive Atkinson, Bishop Hopeton Morris, and Elder Edmund Muir. The Iron Man Empowerment Podcast. We're not just talk, we're informative. HGG Radio.
Are you ready to amplify your message and reach hearts with purpose?
Introducing HGG Advertising, your partner in spreading the gospel and connecting with the Christian community.
Churches, Christian-based businesses, listen up.
With HGG Advertising, you can reach your audience through powerful radio campaigns.
Engage hearts, inspire minds, and grow your community with HGG Radio, which is already reaching 136 countries worldwide.
We specialize in promoting Christian values and helping businesses aligned with faith-based principles.
Whether it's a church event or your business rooted in Christian values, HGG Advertising is here for you.
Connect with us and let's share your message with purpose.
HGG Advertising, spreading the gospel, connecting communities, Email us today at ads@hggradio.ca. That's ads@hggradio.ca. Or call us today at 825-343-4486. The grace of God.
Your weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning flow.
Now your greater is coming.
Mondays to Fridays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. MST. With me, your host, Odette Thompson, right here on HGG Radio. I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health as your soul prospers. We believe for it.
Transforming your relationship every Friday at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. It's all about loving on purpose and the challenges that face us and how our relationship can be transformed. Are you feeling stuck in life or a loveless marriage? Let's journey together as you discover clarity, purpose, and fulfillment in life. I'm Bonita Grange, your relationship and life coach. Why suffer in silence when help is right here? Let's connect for a 30 minutes complimentary session at www.tlcbonitagrange.com or right here on HGG Radio. Talk to you soon. HGG Radio.
Activate Core presents its annual virtual book tour from June 29th to August 31st. Join 30 authors from different countries and different genres as we traverse the virtual spaces of YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, WhatsApp, WeChat, and many others. Join in our live radio interviews, webinars, and book reading activities. Share in our stories of hope with families and friends on the HGG Gospel Radio Station in Canada. Contact us at activatecore7@gmail.com for more information. See you online.
That's the virtual book tour live right here on HGG Radio, July 1st to August 9th, Mondays and Fridays, 10:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, inside the Morning Flow with Pastor Odette Thompson. Looking forward to seeing you.
All right. I want to thank you for joining us right here on 8GG Radio. Of course, I'll be pulling things down on the Facebook and YouTube. If you have not yet downloaded the mobile app, please go ahead and do so. Stay tuned. Coming up at 10 a.m. right here on HGG Radio is Auntie Renee with the youth.
In my house, it burns like liquid fire. The Holy Ghost in my house.
Hey, the Saturday Hub is back online on HGG Radio. Come join me, Auntie Renee, at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, 11 a.m. Central Time, and 12 noon Eastern Time. It's gonna be a great celebration. Children, you don't want to miss it.
Room. There was a sound from heaven and
There you have it. There you have it. All right, see you on the other side. I have 9 minutes remaining right here on AGG Radio. Here I reach you at the highest mountain and the lowest valley.